Hi, Mark from Bug King, and thank you for clicking on the link to the video. So it's coming into summer. We're getting a few ants around, so I thought I'd do a quick video while I'm having a cup of coffee and just do a bit of a chat around some common misconceptions around ants. So if you're going to have problems with ants in the Auckland region, it's going to be with probably one of four types of species. The white-footed house ant, which is a black ant. You can't tell it's got white feet, you can't even see them. The common black house ant, which you can't really tell the difference between them. And here's a picture here. One's white-footed, one's common black. How the hell can you tell the difference? Well, one of them is called the odorous house ant. White-footed house ant, also called the odorous house ant. So if you've got a black ant and you crush it and you get that weird smell that you get from ants sometimes, like that rotten coconut smell, that means you've got a white-footed house ant and not a common black house ant. Now that's important for the way that you treat them, and I'll tell you about that a little bit later on. The other type of ant you're going to get is a coastal brown ant. It's a tiny brown ant that you normally see around the coastal parts. Like there's a big problem with coastal brown and St. Heliers. But the way you identify those, and some people will go, I've got those, is there's a whole lot of little tiny ants, but about 1 in 50 you get one with a big head. Okay, so you get one ant with a big head, and what that shows you is that you've got coastal brown. And then probably the last one that we get commonly in Auckland is the Argentinian ant. So the Argentinian ant is it's an invasive species. It actually pushes all the other ants out around your property. And you can tell you've got Argentinian ant because you get a little volcano like that, but not just one. You'll get one, and then you'll get another one 12 inches away, and another one 2 feet away, and another one a foot away. So you get all these little volcanoes in the little cracks of your paths and driveways, and every single one of those little volcanoes is actually a nest. Now big problem in Onehunga, and it's going to take a concerted effort to try and get rid of those guys, because even if you treat a particular property, it's the whole neighbourhood that's probably a problem. So we're going to need some help and some concerted effort if we're ever going to get rid of that invasive species properly. But some common misconceptions about getting rid of ants. So if you've got white-footed house ant or a black ant, the first thing you do is you grab a bait and you throw it where you're seeing the ants. Wrong thing to do. You're only going to make the problem worse. Here's why. So white-footed house ant, they don't practice trophallaxis, which is just a fancy way of saying that they don't practice communal feeding. And what that means is, because the bait is not being fed to the queen, you'll never kill the queen and you'll never kill the nest. Okay, you may kill a lot of the workers. If it's a small nest, you may kill enough that it will stop enough workers providing food, and you may kill the queen. But if it's a reasonable sized nest, you're just going to make it worse, because they're going to bud or swarm and form a whole lot of other nests. So what do you do about white-footed house ant? Well, the first thing you do is you take those baits and you put them outside. If you're going to use baits on white-footed house ant, put them outside. And the reason is they treat that as a food source. So what they do is they establish a scent trail to that food source, and you'll just keep getting them coming back and back and back. So if ever you're baiting for ants, it doesn't matter what type, always bait outside rather than inside. They'll find it. They'll find the bait. They're ants. They're really great at that. Common black house ant, which is the other black house ant, very common one that we see in, you can use bait for those guys, that's fine, but again, use it outside. Now the coastal brown ant, that's the one, the tiny little brown ants, the odd one with the big head. So you can't use bait for those guys. Well, not the liquid bait anyway that most people use. You actually have to use a granular bait. So this is how finicky these ants are in terms of treatments. You actually have to use a granular bait to try and get rid of the guys. And then Argentinian ant, again, you need to use a spray rather than a bait. Something that's going to, non-repellent, that they're going to carry back to the nest, so you can take care of a high volume of nests in a reasonable space of time. So that's pretty much it. The only other common misconception we get is people see a whole lot of winged ants coming up to about this time of year. You're going to see them very shortly, and people think that they might be termites, but what they're doing is they're actually swarming. So common black house ant and white-footed house ant, at certain times of years, they will form a queen with wings and a whole lot of males with wings, and they will fly off to start another nest somewhere else. That's called swarming. They'll also produce a queen and a whole lot of workers and walk to another nest site. That's called budding, and that's what happens typically with white-footed house ant. If you use bait, you just cause the nest to bud, which means you get a whole lot more nests than you had. So in summary, 4 types of ants. They all need different treatments. Don't use bait inside, and if you see winged ants, don't get too concerned. They're just trying to fly out the windows to form a new nest, but they're dying on the windowsill because they can't get out. Any questions about ants? Give the team at Bug King a call. We're more than happy to talk to you. Thanks for listening in. Talk to you later. Bye.